Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I'm going to do a little disassembly for you on this guy right here. This is the Kizer Knives, Nick Swan Matanzas. Oh, Nick Swan Matanzas. So, to start off, I'm using a T8 bit, by the way, for the pivot here. And probably looking like T6 in the back here. Yeah, T6 in the back. That's fine. Business in the front, T6 in the back. Actually, it's not fine. They could have gone bigger. But anyways, this is an interesting knife because it is based on it's another one of Kizer's collaborations, and this was sent to me by Kizer, by the way, full disclosure. But, this is another one of the collaborations between a custom maker and Kizer Knives. They're doing a lot of these, and it's a neat idea. And so Nick Swan he's made some very attractive pieces. The Matanzas, unfortunately, well, I'm sorry, it's a name aside, the Matanzas is among them. But yeah. Also, this knife is disgusting. This was sent to me directly from Kizer, but it was soaked in some kind of oil and nastiness and pain, suffering of some variety. It looks like it came straight from the slaughters. Oh, interesting. This has the unfortunate floating stop pin thing, too. Oh, Kizer, when are you going to realize that's not a good idea? But whatever. This guy was just bathed in some kind of nasty oil or another, and it's been leaking out. And so I'm hoping that I'll be able to make some improvements here as I'm doing this, both to the action and to the things in general. The other thing is that right now the detent on this knife is, although good, very, very, very strong. And as a result, the knife is kind of a pain in the neck to flip because it's got a pretty low-profile flipper tab here. And so I'm hoping that as I clean this guy out, get rid of whatever oil they are using and replace it with an oil that I like a little bit more, that there will be an improvement here. But we will see. We will indeed see. Now, where the heck's my washer? Ah, there it is. Go ahead and clean off the bearings here. Oh, the Matanzas. Spanish for slaughter. I think I mentioned that already. I'll talk about this in the full review, but this is one of those things that it bothers me, I think, more than it bothers most people in the knife world. Those kinds of really douchey knife names. Like the Microtech Death on Contact, etc. It's just, to me, it just rubs me the wrong way. Like, in no universe, aside from, oh, that's really awesome, does that ever freaking make any sense? Why would you do that? And I worry specifically, and maybe I'm completely paranoid. Let me know what you think in the comments here, but I worry very much that, let's say that you were in a terrible situation and you did end up having to use your pocket knife, for instance, to defend your life or the life of somebody you love. And at which point there is a reasonable chance that you will be dealing with an angry district attorney who's trying to get elected or something like that. That's a thing. That's the thing that nobody talks about with the whole armed self-defense thing. Everybody ignores that part. The 6 months you spend, trying to defend your life from the legal system after you spent, 2 seconds trying to defend your life from some jackass. But anyways, in that case, I cannot imagine a prosecutor worth his or her salt letting that one go through without mentioning the fact that you were carrying a knife whose name literally means slaughter. I feel like that's a relevant factor. Or at least, if it's not actually relevant, it's not actually relevant, but I feel like that's something that they would absolutely try and capitalize on. And it just strikes me as a bad idea. In addition to sounding really douchey, it's just like, you don't want to give that opportunity, so to speak. I mean, if it's a knife that you carry on a regular basis to open envelopes and boxes, why the heck would you call it the slaughter? It just seems really, really stupid to me. Both at the functional level and at the, yeah. But that's also an opinion that I have that I know a lot of people don't necessarily share. And so, I'm willing to be wrong. And in fact, the maker, to his credit, interacted on Instagram and mentioned that this was developed by him when he was living not far from Fort Matanzas, Florida, which is a fort that's named after slaughter because, well, forts and slaughter tend to go hand in hand, unfortunately. Unfortunately. But anyways, and so, he had a good reason for it. But, I just, that drives me a little bit nuts. I'm going to be honest here. And so I don't know. I'm probably way too harsh on that. I'm probably irrational. Well, I know I'm irrational, but that's probably one of my irrationalities. And the consequence of me really thinking about these guys as what they are in my life. That is, tools for everyday life, rather than, crazy high-speed, low-drag weapons where the name Slaughter really makes sense. But back at the ranch, the knife itself, as you see in here, is pretty straightforward. There's not a lot going on. I'm applying a 10-weight nano oil, and you can, if you're ever curious about the tools that I'm using as I complain about knife names in these disassemblies, got a whole video about knife disassembly toolkit you can check out. But the knife itself, like I said, is absolutely and totally straightforward here. It's a bearing flipper frame lock sort of thing. The only thing that's to highlight is that this stop pin is free spinning, and then watch this. I'm going to put the blade back in here. Can you see how damn close this blade is to the edge of the handle here? I'm going to comment on that in the review, but holy crap is this guy. And it's close in 2 dimensions, both back here and then up front here. And even, I mean, holy cow. And so that is absolutely going to be among the ugly with this knife here. Come on. Actually, I'm just trying to get this blade back out into position without damaging myself in some way. Come on. Unfortunately, the detent ball is detenting. Really? There we go. Yeah. So anyways, that is, that right there, the fact that the blade is just so damn close is just so damn ugly. I don't get why makers keep doing that. It feels like something that you can fix very readily and that shouldn't continue being a problem. Yet, do they just not care? I don't get it. But there's much in life I don't get. Anyways, I'm probably super paranoid with the name thing, and frankly, it's still, there's a room for personal aesthetic, and it just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. It's not like political correctness or anything, because, you're welcome to name it what you like. There's a matter of personal aesthetics here. I think I'd feel the same way, even though, for instance, a gun is a tool that is really, there ain't a whole lot more that you can do with a firearm than, well, put holes in something. And it tends to be a little bit more destructive. But I would still, even then, I would object to a gun called the Kilotron 5000, just because, guys, come on. No need to be douchey about it. We get it. It's the purpose. But especially for something that I'm going to be using to cut foam, open envelopes, boxes, that kind of thing, unless it's Matanzing an apple, it's not what that's about. But whatever. Aside from that, though, construction is overall pretty good. There's no internal milling. There's nothing too incredibly special about any of it. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and drop this pivot collar into position. Note, by the way, that the pivot is D-shaped, and so you're going to want to make sure that that was in the proper alignment. You probably saw me adjusting that a couple of times while I was ranting here. Having a very philosophical morning, I think, and so as a result, I may be slacking slightly on the explanation. Sorry about that, guys. But there's always a tension between sounding like a broken record, because this is the 15th Kizer flipper frame lock I've done a video on. And, oh, that's a little too tight. And just completely ignoring what I'm actually doing and ranting at you guys. That's better. Oh, that's way better. Oh, that's way freaking better. So the reason I'm saying that is because I think what was going on is, although it had that really thick oil in there, that was actually providing, that was making the detent a little bit harder still. And so the knife just didn't want to deploy, period. The detent is still maybe a little hard on this guy, although it beats the alternative, that it pops out with nothing. But, yeah, now that I've put a better oil in there, and maybe I've put it in a more skillful arrangement. By the way, look at that freaking blade being right there. But it now opens pretty reliably and actually very nicely. So, anyways, there you go. Hope this is interesting, that I absolutely slaughtered that disassembly. And that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.